Han Gang-ju is a teenage girl living somewhere in Korea. At the beginning of the film, she sits in front of a group of teachers and tells them about her passion for music and singing. As the adults listen carefully, she also claims her innocence. Yet the collective decide that it would be best if Gang-ju transfers to another school where she can start a new life. They do not reveal the reason she is being transferred. Gang-ju has no idea what she is going to do next, so a teacher, Lee Nan-do, volunteers to help her. He finds a reputed school for her in another town and stays with her throughout the moving process. After arriving in the new town, Gang-ju now has to look for accommodation. Her teacher suggests she stay with his mother, Miss Cho, who happens to be a local of the town. At first, she refuses to let a stranger stay at her house, but upon being pressed by her son, she allows Gang-ju to move in for only a week. The following day, Gang-ju goes to her new school. She is introduced to the class by her homeroom teacher. After school, she runs to a cyber cafe and looks for her mother's location on the internet. It turns out that Gang-ju's mother had left her and her father a long time ago. She currently lives with her new husband in the same town, but has no clue her daughter has moved into the town as well. Gang-ju's father is an alcoholic who doesn't care about her whereabouts. After the unfruitful trip to the cyber cafe, she returns to Mrs. Cho's convenience store and helps her out with the customers. Because of her kindness, the old lady begins to like her. The following day at school, Gang-ju is walking down the hall when she peers through her classroom window and sees a small group of girls rehearsing an a cappella song. She loves to sing, but is too socially anxious to work in groups. When she locks eyes with one of the girls in the group, she quickly runs away. Gang-ju then goes to her swimming class. After coming to town, she has started to show interest in learning how to swim. After the class, Gang-ju is in the changing room humming to his song. The girl who saw her earlier in the school, named Eun-hee, happens to be the leader of the a cappella group. Eun-hee hears her singing and secretly records her. Later, she approaches Gang-ju and tells her she would be great in the music team. In contrast to what Eun-hee had expected, Gang-ju is furious at her for invading her privacy. She refuses to join the music group and storms off. Following that, she goes to her mother's house, having found where she lives. She is overjoyed to see her, but her mother doesn't reciprocate the emotions. After talking for a while, she is told that she cannot stay with her mother because of her stepfather. A heartbroken Gang-ju returns home after the encounter. The following day at school, Gang-ju notices that the music room is empty. She takes the opportunity to play the guitar and sing. While she is at it, Eun-hee and her friends listen to her from outside the room. They are impressed by her singing, but she stops playing as soon as she sees them. She walks out while being followed by the entire group. They compliment her voice and ask her to play in the band, but Gang-ju walks away, ignoring them entirely. When she goes to Miss Cho's store, she sees a bunch of women harassing the old woman. She doesn't intervene and simply returns to her room. It has been a week since she moved into the house, so she has to leave the next day. She packs up her luggage, still unsure where she is about to go. Before leaving, she bids farewell to Mrs. Cho. To her surprise, the woman asks her to stay there as long as she wants. She has grown to prefer being with Gang-ju to being alone in the house. Starting that day, Gang-ju gets along with the girls at the school. They practice together every day and get along well. That is until one day, one of the girls takes a video of Gang-ju. It angers her so much that she throws her phone away. The next day, Gang-ju's teacher, Lee Nan-do, visits her. He tells her that all the boys who assaulted her have been arrested. Since the evidence is strong, their bail is almost impossible. Still, their parents are looking for her everywhere. One day at school, Gang-ju is told that the girls sent a video of her singing to a music label that wants to sign her. They had expected her to be happy about it, but in contrast, she asked them to never invade her privacy like that again. An enraged Gang-ju walks away, while the girls are left confused. After school, Eun-hee tries to talk to her, but she dismisses her concerns. Eun-hee is patient and doesn't feel bad even when Gang-ju is rude to her. That night, Gang-ju goes to Eun-hee's house for a sleepover. While talking, she is asked if she has ever kissed a boy before. Weirdly enough, Gang-ju claims that she has kissed 43 men. Eun-hee thinks it is a joke and laughs it off. In reality, Gang-ju was assaulted by a group of 43 boys. That was the reason she was kicked out of the school and had to leave the town. That evening, she meets her father for dinner at a restaurant. He asks her to sign a paper, but doesn't disclose the contents of it. One day, Gang-ju is with her friends when they ask her about her dream in life. She claims that she wants to learn how to swim at least 25 meters. The girls just laugh at her. Later, she gets a call from Lee Nan-do, who asks her how the meeting with her dad went. When she tells him about the papers she signed, Lee gets upset and tells her to never sign papers without knowing the contents. Upon reaching home, she calls her father, but he doesn't pick up. She realizes that she signed a petition for her assaulters to be let free. Her father must have been bribed by the parents to make her sign them. When she goes to school the next day, she finds out her friends have posted a video of her singing on the internet. Gongju freaks out and yells at them to delete it. Having had enough of her rudeness, one of the girls says that everyone hates her and they only talk to her because of Yoon-hee. Following that, the girls are in a class when all of a sudden, a group of people enter the classroom and gather around Gongju. It turns out they are the parents of the assaulters who want her to sign some papers and let their sons out of prison. They only stop harassing her when Yoon-hee brings the principal. Gongju runs to a dark room and cries alone. A flashback shows us that before all of this, she used to work at a convenience store in her hometown. The son of the owner and her classmate, Dong-yoon, used to be bullied by his classmates. One day he comes into the store with cuts and bruises and picks up snacks without paying for them. On looking outside, she sees that the guy is giving the snacks to his group of friends. The only friend Gongju has is Hyo-sun, who she adores. Hyo-sun is also Dong-yoon's girlfriend. The two come to Gongju's house frequently to hang out. When Gongju returns home that day, she sees Dong-yoon and his friends in the living room. Dong-yoon was bullied by them to find a place for them to spend the night. Even Hyo-sun is with the group and is clearly drunk. Gongju asks them to get out of her house instantly. They refuse to obey her at first, but pack up their things when she says her father is about to return home. On their way out, she also asks them to leave Dong-yoon alone from now onwards. The leader of the group threatens to shut her up. To assert his dominance, he uses a stapler on Dong-yoon's stomach. A scared Gongju calls the police and tells them her location, but one of the guys snatches the phone away from her. After that day, the guys continue to come to her house frequently to party. Gongju feels hopeless because she can't do anything about it. At one of such parties, they mix a drug with a glass of alcohol and ask her to drink it. When she refuses, Dong-yoon insists that the boys will leave only after she drinks it. Not thinking much of it, she chugs it down. After she starts to feel the effects of the drug, they forcefully pin her down and abuse her in the worst ways. In the other room, they do the same to her friend Hyo-sun. One of them shoots a video of her and uploads it to a website. After hours of torture, they only stop when Dong-yoon's father arrives at the house. Instead of informing the authorities, he simply stops his son from abusing one of the girls and takes him away. After the incident, Hyo-sun jumps off a bridge and commits suicide. Gongju is devastated at her best friend's death and informs the police about everything that happened. Because of this, she was transferred to another school and she was made to leave the city for her own safety. Back in the present, the school principal asked her what made the parents attack her, but Gongju says nothing. Mrs. Cho's boyfriend, who is also a policeman, comes to the school and brings her back home after being explained the situation. He tells Mrs. Cho everything about Gongju's past and asks her to kick her out of the house because the parents might attack them for keeping her. Before they finish the conversation, Gongju comes downstairs with her luggage, ready to leave. Mrs. Cho's boyfriend stops her midway and hands her Dong-yoon's release papers. He claims that the guy was forced to assault her, so he should be let free. Even after suggesting to kick her out of the house, he wants her to do him a favor and sign the papers. Gongju understands this and inquires why she should be the one to run away when the others are the ones at fault. That night, Gongju stays at a sauna and calls her father. When he doesn't pick up, she calls her teacher Lee Nan-do, who informs her her father has taken the petition money and run away. The next morning, she boards a train. In the meantime, Yoon-hee and her group find the video of Gongju being assaulted on the internet. Unable to watch their friend beg for help, they shut the computer. They finally realize why Gongju was the way she was. Yoon-hee texts her to ask her where she is and to say that it is not her fault. In the last scene, Gongju jumps off a bridge and into the river. But she is seen swimming away instead of drowning. In the background, Gongju is asked why she wants to learn to swim so badly. She replies that she wants to start over in case she changes her mind, indicating that she was always planning to jump off a bridge and wanted to have an option of saving herself in case she changed her mind.